Recording in progress.
There she is. Did you guys hear her, by the way?
I missed.
You missed her.
I missed her. It's been so long.
Well, it'll be all right. Next time, we'll make sure you catch her next time. Is everybody ready already?
Yep.
All right. Let's hit it. Hello, hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. You know, I don't have a funny joke today, so I'm just going to slowly soften the music and pull that up and do my knobs. I never get to do that easily. Like, it takes time to train my brain how to do all this stuff. And when I don't have something lined up for the week, it kind of gets crazy because I'm like, wow, I can actually do this.
I'm just glad people can see you so they know when you say you're just going to softly turn down the music and pull on your knob and that they don't assume anything nefarious.
Right. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so on that note, what a transition. Let's get right into it. And let's meet today's All-Stars. And like previously, I don't have funny jokes today, guys, but I do have some content we can talk about. This is going to be a first for AAD. I don't have any funny anecdotes or, you know, I'm being joined today by Retmus, as you can see in the corner next to me, and Biff, as you can see, he's probably right below me, and Sekju pulling up the lower right-hand corner, the gangster of Ganja. I guess I could use your taglines. The Sorcerer Supreme of Cyberspace, Retmus. I don't have one for Biff, do I?
He's just in the bullpen.
Yeah, Biff is always warming up in the bullpen. That's right. He doesn't have a name. He's an action verb. He's not a...
just get my arm warm.
Right, that's it. He's doing them. He's got the Armstrong method going on there, right? Doing 12-ounce curls. Let's talk a little bit about some DC stuff, and I'm not going to even bang the gong today.
No gong?
No gong, I know. The gong is, as you can see behind me. It's tucked in the back there. I didn't, because here's the thing, right? I didn't have an intro done for this show or anything. I sat up this morning, and usually in the morning I'll come down here first thing, and I'll start banging away, and I'll start writing, you know, jokes and stuff. I wasn't feeling it today, and I'm really, really, really sorry because I feel like I let all y'all down. But
AAD Olympic Hangover Edition.
Pretty much. I did watch that basketball game yesterday between France and America, and at first it was almost like a wrestling match because it was like, here's France on their home turf, and they're vying for the gold medal against arguably one of the greatest basketball teams ever assembled on the human planet Earth, with LeBron James and Kevin Durant and all these guys, right? It's amazing. But it was a fun first half, I would say, that basketball game. After that, it was a foregone conclusion. But still, nonetheless, it was an exciting game. I don't watch a lot of Olympics, but when I do, I make sure that it's the good stuff.
I like the weird shit. I go out of my way to find the weirdest stuff I can. And I make a recommendation to all of you because it was a gem that I discovered in the Tokyo Games.
Right.
Kayak slalom. Look up the kayak slalom. You won't regret it. It's literally a dude or a lady. I don't even know. I've never even seen the women compete in this one, but I'm sure there's a men's and women's competition. It's one person in a tiny kayak with a single oar, and they're going down these rapids like fighting for their lives. Like, it doesn't look like an Olympic competition. It looks like they just don't want to die. And I just got to say, check that out. Kayak slalom. It's great. They have to go through like gates like skiers on slaloms and everything,
right.
But with this one, it's a whole different ball game because they're in a tiny boat with a paddle against rapids, and they're like, Jesus fuck, it's so far away to get back to the thing.
Maybe that is the goal. They get points for not dying. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
God,
yeah,
God.
Kayak slalom, everyone should be checking that out. It's the next curling, I'm telling you.
All right.
Well, not in the sense that curling is something everyone feels like they can do. It's just the thing no one's talking about that they should be.
Is curling the one where they just take that little stick and they push a disc forward?
The Canadian pastime.
Yeah, they have brooms dusting in front of
Is
the
that
little
what that
disc.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the one that everybody looked at and was like, "Shit, I could be in the Olympics if this is a sport." And I mean, not to disrespect the curlers because I can't curl for shit either. More power to you, but it certainly looks like something that anybody could do. It just looks that way.
Speaking of
Yeah,
something anybody could do, there's an Olympic sport for freaking shooting guns, hand pistols. And I think the guy who won the Olympics, the gold for that, got into it because his wife said you aren't good at anything. So he wanted to prove her wrong.
I think the only thing that was missing from that guy winning the gold was him smoking a cigarette while he took the final
Right?
shot. Because that pose just begs like a ciggy hanging out the side of.
He's gangster, man.
You know, I went in to the bedroom and my wife was watching the Olympics today and they were having a handball match. And I've never seen handball before ever. And I looked at that and I was just like, that looks like somebody loved basketball and soccer and merged them together to make a new sport.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a pretty apt description.
I've never seen it, but it's the first time I've ever saw it. And I was just like, boy, that's what that looks like. Because they dribble, they pass the ball like a basketball, and they're trying to throw it in the net with their hands. You know, in America we call it soccer, but you know, everywhere else calls it football. But everybody knows what I mean.
Yeah. And I suppose that's where it comes from, really, is because instead of using your feet, you're using, well, your hands in a similar fashion. We're the only weirdos that call football a sport with an oblong egg-shaped ball that has to go through a big giant yellow H, you know?
Yeah.
Because reasons.
Yeah, right?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you call it football and you look at it and then you call it handball, it's identical. One's hands, one's foot.
Yeah. Yeah. But
some of the things that get in there as sports, I don't know what they were smoking sometimes. I'll see these weird things, man, like weird sports. And I'm like, I've never even heard of these, but yet it was popular enough to make it into the Olympics. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Breakdancing.
That was controversy. That was an interesting controversy with that Australian breakdancer.
The Australian breakdancer.
Got 0 points. It's like I didn't think that was possible. I thought they had to give you like a half.
Oh God. He's an Olympic athlete, folks.
Oh man, she's
an Olympic athlete, folks.
Ray Gun.
God, that was atrocious.
I mean, good on her for like having the guts to get up and do that in front of literally the entire world. Like that woman deserves a high five in the confidence department. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, be that as I wanted to ask Biff because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you a once upon a time near Olympian?
I had a tryout.
Okay.
For the 1992 Olympic team. Yes. I did not make it.
No, okay.
Only they had breakdancing then.
Yeah, I would have gotten the gold medal in the worm.
There you go. Would you have rapped while you're doing it?
I was going to say 2028 Olympic rap battles. Here
That's
comes
right.
Biff.
Biff was on it with the Funky Cold Medina. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about a series that got a little bit of hate in our chat Discord server, which if you're not on, I think there's a link somewhere up on the screen. Scan it or click it in the links down below or do whatever you got to do to find it. But we're there, folks. And on that Discord server, on that very Discord server, somebody, I won't mention names, Witty, said that she was disappointed in Batman Caped Crusader because it was reimagining characters, I suppose, for lack of a better word. And I just want to get a yes or no at this point. How many of you have seen the series or seen any episodes? Have you seen it?
I have not.
I'm 1 episode in.
Okay, so you're 1 episode in. Biff's never seen it. Retmus, have you seen any of it yet?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
Like how many episodes? Just 1, 2?
Just a few. I've been extremely busy. I haven't been able to sit down and watch it.
Okay. So let me ask then, Biff, and maybe to a lesser degree, Sectu, what are your expectations going into a show like this? Because I guess I look at it through a different set of goggles, right? I look at it through the goggles of an Elseworld story. So messing with the characters or with the origins or any of that stuff really doesn't bother me. I think that as long as you go through the episode with that in mind, it's a lot easier to swallow. I know there was some contention made about the Penguin being a female character, and I know that's maybe a bit of a spoiler alert. Sorry, guys, for those of you who weren't in the know, but I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that, Secchu, and then I wanted to turn it over to Biff and see what he thinks of it, because I'm gonna finalize it with Retmus too. By the way, don't think I forgot you.
So was that in the first episode or was that in the second episode?
That was in the
'Cause
first
I saw
episode.
that. Okay, I was gonna
Yeah.
say because I feel like I've seen this. Okay.
Yeah.
So at first, when I read about it before I had watched it, I was a bit turned off by the idea of it.
Right.
Just because I'm like, why do that with the Penguin of all characters?
Right.
That was one that didn't make sense for me for that. But after I watched the episode itself, I really enjoyed the take on it, and I like the fact that Tweedledee and Tweedledum were her sons instead of just some random goons.
Yeah.
I thought that that was a cool take on it. Since you're doing this change, why not make it like a family crime operation sort of thing? So, there is a place for the classic stories and everything, but we've seen those a
Right.
thousand times.
Right.
Everybody's always asking for something new, something different, and I don't have a problem with them gender bending, race bending characters if the story is good.
Yes.
And in this particular case, the story part of it was really good,
Yeah.
and the ancillary pieces to that sex change for the Penguin, essentially. Again, you got a cool little bonus piece that her kids are now her goons instead of it just being two random schmucks that why do these guys work for the Penguin?
Right.
Yeah. It makes sense, at least from a narrative standpoint. So as long as the story part of it's good, the identity stuff like that's never gonna kill a story for me. It's whenever the story is based around that solely. And I'll give a comparison. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to bring inclusion and everything to communities with what they did with Supergirl and Nianal, the Dreamer.
Yeah.
But there was too much emphasis in that story on her identity and everything going on with her personally versus how that would impact the story as Dreamer. If they had they did a good job with it later, I should say, but when they first introduced the character, it definitely felt very ham-fisted in a kind of I forget the word for it. I forget the word. Maybe someone can help me with that. Whenever you're just basically trying to sell people on something for the sake of, not actually trying to tell it in a way that narratively made sense. So, in this one, I feel like the narrative made sense. I feel like it worked just fine for the Penguin's crime boss to be a woman too. I believe they've even had that before. Wasn't that part of Gotham's theme before the Penguin took over the Penguin's own hideout? Wasn't there a woman in charge there first?
Fish Mooney, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's not like there isn't precedent for, there being a strong female character in the Gotham crime underworld as well.
Yeah.
So, all of those things made it work for me.
Yeah. And I can't disagree with a lot of what you said. And I think, if I could summarize it, you hit the nail on the head when you said, as long as they insert the character as it is, it doesn't matter what you put around it. It can be, you can make the Penguin into an alien for all I care. As long as it stays true to the spirit of the character. And that's what I think it happened here. And I think that's because you've got someone like Bruce Timm who, and let's face it, this series is very much a spiritual predecessor or a spiritual follow-up to Batman the Animated Series. The animation style is very similar. It looks smooth. It's gorgeous to watch. It's absolutely an animator's wet dream. It's also got Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams behind it, which I always thought was interesting. That's a lot of fight. Either J.J. Abrams has really gotten knocked down the peg a few rungs, or he really loves Batman. I don't know which one.
They were really upset with him after that last Star Wars movie.
Yeah, he's disappeared for a while. Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad for him too, because he took the fall for that shit. But
I don't know why, but I'm always reminded, but for some reason, you watch The Boys, right?
I don't know.
You don't? Oh man, there's a character on The Boys who's like a movie producer essentially that's always kind of hovering around the outskirts.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I feel like I have no reason to believe this or that J.J. Abrams is anything like this person whatsoever. But for some reason, every time I see this guy, I just think oh, they're making fun of J.J. Abrams. Like, I don't know why, but that's just what's in my head when I see the guy.
Oh,
Oh,
J.J. Abrams.
people who watch the show know what I'm talking about. Sorry
Yeah,
for people that
yeah.
don't.
No. I'm in the minority here. I don't watch that stuff. So I think I saw the first season of it and I thought it was okay, but I mean, I didn't keep watching. So I
This dude
apologize.
shows up in season 2, so that wouldn't do you any good.
Yeah, okay. Biff, I want to get your take on this really quick because since you've heard some things about the show, let me ask you, first of all, do you have any plans to watch the series? And if you don't, why not?
I'll probably watch the series. I've been really, like Retmus said, I've been really busy lately and haven't really, other than watching the Olympics, because I do get into the nationalistic side of the stories of all the athletes and all of that stuff. Other than that, I haven't really been watching much TV, just because I've been really busy. But yeah, no, what is that, Amazon? Is that on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. I don't have much going on today, so maybe I'll watch a couple episodes today. But yeah, from what you said, I'm not real picky about. I don't like to really complain about how they do things because, as Sec, you said that like all the stories have been told, so it's just that do we just kick off the series with Martha and Thomas getting knocked off again, like every other Batman thing, or do we try something different? So I think Penguin as a female is a little much, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really say. I mean, like that's kind of odd to me.
So I was
but
in
it
your
wouldn't
boat.
turn me off.
I was in your boat because when I first read it, I was like, come on, right? That's exactly what I thought to myself in my head. Come on.
Yeah.
But I said, I'll give it an honest try. And here's where I guess I make the distinction because it's a period piece, right? It's set in the 1940s or supposed to be set in the 1940s, right? And I always thought it was great because I lost my train of thought. That sucks. No, it was set in the 1940s, which I always thought was interesting because, like you said, they are diversifying the cast. A female Penguin. I won't spoil Harley Quinn at all, but the Catwoman. There's a few liberties being taken with a lot of these characters that don't quite jive up with somebody telling a story in the 1940s. We wouldn't have this. I guess what I'm really saying is comics in the 1940s weren't as diverse as this universe is, right? So you have to kind of set your mind in a different spot or a different place when you watch it because it is Elseworlds. At least that's how I see it. I'm sorry, Biff.
Yeah, no. So I'll check it out. But yeah, I mean, I think the Penguin as a female, to me, my first reaction is that's aggressive. It is, as actually said, like a character that is so well known to change it up that much seems odd. How would we feel if Harley Quinn was a man in this? Like it's
well.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and you're not. Well, Harley Quinn is,
and Harley Quinn is by no stretch as iconic as the Penguin in DC lore.
Sure.
But I'm just making that comparison because it seems like an odd fit, but I haven't seen it.
If it helps, your favorite villain, your favorite Batman villain of all time, does make an appearance.
Really?
Yes, he does.
I was surprised he didn't respond to that in the chat because
I know.
I was even going to tag Biff and be like, "Did you see this?"
I haven't.
Yeah.
That's odd because he's really never shown up anywhere other than the Batman 66.
He shows up here.
Apparently, Tim likes Batman 66 as well.
Oh, they have an homage to a lot of the Rogues 66 one-offs down there, and that's in the Harley Quinn episode, which is fantastic, which I probably give too much away, but
yeah. All right. No, I'll check it out. I didn't realize
Yeah.
King Tut made an appearance.
Yes, he does.
AB, is the whole series out on Amazon, or is it still coming out weekly?
No, the whole series dropped. I binged it probably in a couple of days. I was hardcore on it. So
How many total episodes? Like 8, 10, or?
there's 10 episodes. They're each about a half an hour long.
Okay. All right. Just I might watch the rest of it this afternoon. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fun series, and I wanted to get because you said you've been through it a few episodes. I don't know where you've gotten to in the series so far, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Yeah, I won't mention anything.
Okay.
Um, but this is the way I look at it. There's nothing wrong with it. And the
No.
reason I say this is because everybody knows the story of Batman. And if we just tell the same story over and over and over, it will appeal to less people. Unless it's someone being completely new and introduced to Batman and has no idea who Batman is,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter at all. But if you're a hardcore Batman fan and you have like the specific lore that you follow, and then someone brings out something different, then that usually bothers a lot of people. Okay, but what if you went to the movies and they decided to play uh, the Batman movie, and then next year they came out with a sequel which just retold that same exact story, and then the year after that a retelling,
Yeah.
but they don't change any characters, any difference between them. It's just the same thing over and over with different actors. You would lose interest. You would drop out. You would not go see it anymore. Only super hardcore fans would, and I mean, it would dwindle down to very, very few people because everyone will know the story after the first, maybe the second time seeing the same thing over and over. I mean, who doesn't know Batman's origin? You know, who doesn't know the origin of all these characters? But when they reboot stuff, a lot of times they try to redo the same exact story with a little bit of a twist. The reason is they got to give something new to people so they don't expect it. So they don't go in here and be like, oh, yeah, he's going to do this and he's going to do that, but they've never seen it before. So, what really is the fun in that unless it's just a visual eye candy of the newest effects? So, to loop back around, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter if the Joker would be a female and Harley Quinn would be a man or anybody in it. It's just a telling of the story in a different set, a different mindset. And that way it gives you something new to experience, but yet a familiar theme.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it great because that's why there's so many things in this world because not everybody likes the same thing. So this might appeal to some people that really like that and not appeal to people that don't. But the whole thing is if it's successful, we get more. If it's not successful, they go back to the drawing board and retry again, which gives us different spins on things. And that's why I like it. And it doesn't matter to me who plays what they look like. I'm just there for the story. And if they have a twist of why someone is a specific way they are that's different from the original story, I welcome that because it was unexpected to me. So that's new to me. It's not following the same outline that's been presented over and over and over. But anyway, that's my take on it.
Yeah, yeah, well said. You know, I would say that if you don't plan, and I'll defend Witty here in a little bit because I don't want to seem like we're picking on her because we're not.
No, not
Um,
at all. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you're a hardcore fan, you want it that way,
right.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But this gives something new and fresh that hasn't been done, and they're trying to, appeal to everybody. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that twist,
Sure.
you know, and that's why I welcome changes like that. Keep the original continuity for everybody. And then you have your Elseworlds. That's what the whole
Yeah.
reason for Elseworlds was created. So you can create these. Look at the movie The Joker. That doesn't follow the original Joker story,
No.
but look how successful that movie was. That was like one of the most successful movies ever made. And it didn't really follow the story. It completely spun off on its own, but it was successful and great. So if he didn't take that chance and did it that way, we wouldn't have got a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I mean, there's different audiences for everything. Yet no one thing is going to please all audiences. So, like, if you're capturing a group of people that you might not otherwise have captured with a slightly different portrayal, yeah, you might have some other people that are not as interested in it, and that's their right to be that way too. They're allowed to
Hmm.
like things the way they want them. But
Exactly.
it opens up that character in that universe to more people that maybe they weren't accessible to before.
Yeah.
If everyone all liked the same thing, restaurants would be really boring.
Yes.
Everything would be boring. I mean, it's like think of the life of like poor animals where people get a dog and they give it the same food its entire life. Every day it knows exactly what it's going to eat.
That sucks.
Yeah, yeah, just think about that. And that happens. How many, I mean, there's people out there that will feed an animal the same exact food its whole entire life and nothing new. You know, so think of it in that kind of perspective. If you're giving the same thing over and over and there is nothing new at all,
Hey, my
then
dog loves his food.
well, well,
You,
dogs
you
will eat
get so
anything. It
you
doesn't
should
matter.
see how excited Mo gets when he's ready to get fed the same thing, and he's on a
Yep.
prescription diet, and so it's even more bland and more boring.
Right.
Poor,
I
He,
just
poor
think
he
it's
doesn't
Mo.
get steak bones anymore and things like that because he has pancreatitis and
Oh,
he can't eat he can't get any table food.
Oh, that's
that
terrible.
sucks, Mo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to, this is not neither here nor there. We're talking about different things. I want to give a shout out, and I don't remember where this was, but Biff could probably help me out. There was a place that we went in Nashville that I ordered tater tots, and I didn't get tater tots. What I got was like a ball or several balls of like hash browns that were like deep fried in a circular ball-ish motion. They were the best frickin' tater tots I ever had on the planet. And I never would have known about it had I not ordered those things. So,
They were like tater tots that looked like a hush puppy.
kind
Or am I
of.
interpreting your description here?
Kind of.
Yes.
Biff, what? Go ahead. Maybe I'm describing them wrong.
So no, it's they were just very homemade tater tots, and they
Yeah.
were from scratch, done really well. Is my favorite bar in Nashville, Old Red, which is
Mm.
named after a dog. Old Red. And it's Blake Shelton's bar.
Oh,
And we got some food there, and they do a really good job. There's a lot of dive bars on Broadway in Nashville, but this was one this is a very upscale, nice place, great live music. And I'm not even a country music person, but when in Rome, so yeah, no, Old Red. If you go to Nashville, go to Old Red. My favorite bar.
You heard it here first, folks. What an endorsement.
And get the tater tots.
Yeah, get the tater tots there.
And the fried pickles. I got fried pickles the next day I went there, and it was tremendous.
Yeah. We also got, didn't we get some, what are they, burn ends, those delicious little things? Oh my
yeah.
God.
Burn ends were good too.
Yeah. So, highly recommend it. All right. Well, thank you guys for that discussion on Cape Crusader. Hopefully it encourages.
can I
you
add
guys.
one more point, AB?
Sure,
Or
yeah.
Is everyone else here, or is anybody else watching the My Adventures with Superman show as well? Or no?
I haven't, no.
I just think it's interesting that like this penguin situation is a point of controversy where it's literally the most basic of things. They changed the sex of the character, but I didn't hear that many people complaining at all in season one, or even making a comment in season one about the fact that they smashed Anthony Ivo and the Parasite together into one character in the Superman animated show.
Really?
And it still worked. I mean, it was okay, but it's like nobody gave a shit about that. And that seems more like relevant to me. I mean, the Parasite's a pretty iconic character. So is
Yeah.
Dr. Anthony Ivo.
Yeah.
To like completely change the two of them into one character that was nothing like either has ever been. To me, that was a little bit more of a dramatic change. And again, I'm not complaining about it. I just think it's interesting that that wasn't controversial at all. But you change the sex of the penguin and suddenly it's a big deal.
And everybody loses their minds.
Everybody loses when it's given according to plan.
I watched one episode of that and it didn't appeal to me.
You know what? you need to get past the first episode because I had the same problem, Retmus,
Yeah.
as a big Superman enthusiast.
Uh-huh.
I think you've probably seen me in the chat making fun of it as Sailor Kent, based on how that
Yes.
first episode was. And I'll still call him Sailor Kent. I don't care how good of a job Jack Quaid does, because he does do a good job. But that's that. When he gets his suit, it is the silliest thing ever. From there forward, the rest of the show is pretty decent, I have to say. Like, there's some little bits in here that get people upset. I know that Kal-El in our server has some issues with some of the characterizations, and absolutely his right too, because they are wildly different than they are from the comics. But a lot of that show does work. I think it does get the characterization of Superman really well, and I do appreciate it, and I think you would too if you gave it a second chance. Just letting you know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I will eventually.
I know you're busy as fuck, so.
Speaking of soups, did I wanted to ask you really quick, Secchi, while I got you on, I'm gonna waste everybody else's time, but did you ever read Our Worlds at War?
Yes.
Is it good?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's worth your time reading.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it is. I've been curious about it because I've purposely stayed away from anything regarding it.
I'll warn you, there's going to be one part of it that makes you rather sad. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Okay.
I mean, I know that you're a fan of Wonder Woman, and some stuff goes down that is rather sad for her and her story.
Okay.
So just a heads up.
Oh, that's going to be heavy. It's going to be a gut punch.
A little bit of a gut punch, but it is good. It's a really good story.
Okay.
I mean, the art
I like
isn't
that.
my favorite. I'll throw that out there.
Right.
The art it's not bad. It's just not my favorite style.
Gotcha.
But that would probably be my only criticism. The story itself, I didn't mind. I thought it was good.
Okay. So the art's not bad like Wonder Woman Dead Earth was bad.
I don't think it's that level of bad.
Okay. Okay.
It's just not my cup of tea as far as art
Right.
goes. I like Jim Lee, Alex Ross. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
little bit more realistic-ish.
Who doesn't like Alex Ross?
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't care too much for the artwork in Our Worlds at War. Not that it's bad. It's just not my favorite.
Okay.
I
Well,
like
thanks.
how long it takes Alex Ross to make one of those spectacular paintings that he does.
Yeah.
How about like when he illustrates an entire issue of something? Like how long did
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
together?
Oh, that one that he did with like the whole Justice Society where it has everybody in it, that painting.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just wondering how long that took because it is so detailed and looks gorgeous.
Be a
Yeah.
great question if we can get him on the show.
Yeah. If you're listening, Alex Ross, drop us a
Drop a
line. Hit us up on our Discord.
Sponsor us. No,
Yeah, sponsor us. Shit.
next to Subway. Eat fresh.
That's right. So I've got a quick discussion that I want to have with you guys. I think I kind of went back and forth in my mind about this, whether I wanted to kind of do this on the air with you guys or, behind the scenes or what have you. But it's, it's apparent to me, right, that, we are on a downturn. We're on in a little bit of a slump. And I want to say that I think that, a lot of that rests on my shoulders. And the reason for that is because I'll be blunt. I'll be honest. It's hard for me to get motivated to come up with content for a show when there's not a lot of content for us to talk about other than, comics and, I think, what did they have? My Adventures with Superman or the Cape Crusader, which we've now exhausted.
You can talk about Warner Brothers stock plummeting.
Right. I mean that, right? We can speculate about the Superman film, but until a lot of these things start popping again, it's going to be really, really, really hard for us to keep coming up with topics and comic conversations and things of that nature because, not all of us read comics. I'm just getting back into them myself. I know Biff doesn't really do that kind of thing. I mean, he has read comics, but I know it's not his real forte. I know Whitty has got no time at all on the planet to read. I know she's got a reading list that she hasn't gotten to yet. And Retmus has no time to wind his ass or scratch his watch. So,
Hey, that ass is well round.
well around.
Wound.
Wow. Yeah.
Freudian slip.
Have you been cupping? He's been cupping those cheeks, man. I'm telling you what. No, but it's getting harder and harder for me to come up with things, and I don't want to keep putting you guys on the poke for things like this, like, help me out, help me out, help me out. And I've always said this is your guys' show. So without the other folks here to represent, I'm talking about, 2D and Miss Junk and Witty. I wouldn't count Hate Mail at this point. He's too busy getting tail.
He's in that hate tail.
Hate tail, that's right. But they're all too busy. So I mean, not that they don't have a say in it, but I guess I would leave it up to you guys, and I'll ask, these guys separately in the writer's room as well. What do you want to do with this? Because I mean, I've often said, right, and this is one of the ideas that I had. I've often said that sometimes the conversations we have before the show are better than what comes out on the show. And I've threatened it before. What I might do is I might just hit the record button before everybody gets on, and then as people get on, we start filtering in and we talk, and then we just talk about whatever until I call the timer. That would be an interesting way to reimagine the project. I don't know how successful it'd be, but I guess I'm open to discussion.
Well, I thought we could have a little section to where we could just do a review on an episode of show. Like, let's say we all decide to do Batman Cape Crusader. We'll watch the first episode and then we'll give our own little take, like a review on that. And that could just be like a little segment of the show, but then that would give us something every episode to discuss its current DC stuff, or we could pick, one of their movies that they've done in their animation.
Yeah.
And we could all watch that, because we kind of did that on Snippets a little bit, and it was pretty successful.
Yeah, and they did just release the Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3.
Yeah.
There's that 3-part end to the Tomorrowverse that we haven't. I mean, we talked a little bit about it on, I think, a previous show, but there's that to unpack. That animated universe is ending, leading into the new one. Creature Commandos is coming this fall, and that's basically of the James Gunn universe. So that'll give us a lot to like.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I like Retmus's idea. Like, you can just pick like some things to just review basically and just go over, or like old stories, like just like we've been talking about old stories that you're picking up now. Like, you could do an episode where we talk about Our Worlds at War and what happens in that comic story. I mean, at this point, it's been out long enough that hopefully that's not a spoiler for most DC fans listening to this show.
Right.
But, we could even have a classic section where we review episodes of Batman 66 or Wonder Woman, the older shows that, before modern day. So we could even have sections based on that too. So, I mean, there's lots of things that we can cover that people like and would like information about, because sometimes we might bring something to light that they didn't know about, and they might want to go check it out, and then they'll pop on and post comments about it and be like, oh, that's a cool show, I never knew that one was out there. Like, I mean, look at the old shows like Swamp Thing and stuff that they made a reboot of recently, but they had the original old one. I mean, there's so many cool old shows. I mean, they don't stand up today, so they had to rely a little bit more on the storytelling. And sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad, just like anything else. But there's still a lot of content out there besides brand new, right out of the box. So
kind of funny how the pendulum swings, isn't it, Retmus? Like you were just saying, back in the day, they didn't have all the CGI and cool shit they have today to make it look great.
Yeah,
that's the chief complaint about today's stuff, is the story fucking sucks, because they have these cool visuals, but the story's garbage. So that pendulum swings.
Yeah. Still to this day, one of my favorite old shows is the John Wesley Shipp, The Flash.
Hell yeah.
That's like one of my favorite of all times.
Well, and it's great that they actually gave him his deserved heroic send-off in CW verse. So I mean, that's great. That character had a well-rounded beginning and end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. He was such a fantastic character. I mean, the way that they chose him, because they kind of like did it right. because he was actually in the he was doing the job like he did in the comic books. He was a forensic
Yeah, he was a forensic
scientist.
scientist. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was out there. And is trying to solve the crimes. Not that Grant Gustin was doing it, but he kind of like that disappeared. It just like got absorbed in the storyline, and he only ran back to the precinct when he needed to find one specific thing. It never showed him actually solving cases
Yeah.
using those skills. But anyway, I'm just going to get off the rails there, AB.
No,
Sorry.
you're right
No,
though.
you're
You're right
fine.
though. There was a lot more of that in season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved Flash with John Wesley Shipp too. When I was a kid, that was my jam. Mark Hamill as the trickster was badass.
Yeah. Yes.
See, I was just thinking it would be cool too if we did like certain actor features on different actors that actors and actresses, sorry, not to exclude
Sure.
the ladies.
Right.
Just features on people that have done various DC mediums. Like, for example, we just named one. Mark Hamill's been in a bunch of different stuff, but also, showing up in areas people might not even expect. Like he does voice work even on the show Invincible on Amazon Prime and stuff too. So,
Yeah.
he's all over the place in comic media, and that would be cool to talk about him or to talk about Michael Rosenbaum, who was famously Lex Luthor, but also
Yeah.
voiced the Flash.
Yeah.
I think Jensen Ackles was like Red Hood and Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
mean, there's a
How
lot
about
of
Neil
different.
McDonough?
Yeah.
McDonough was Damien Dark, and then he's voiced so many different things in the
Yeah.
DC universe. Like he does tons of voice work. So I mean, yeah, there's some opportunity there, I think, for content that we haven't really touched on before, if you're looking for ideas.
Damien Dark. Yeah, no, those are all great ideas. We would have
Although
to.
Neil McDonough's single greatest work, AB, is a Cadillac commercial. You have
Cadillac.
to go watch his Cadillac commercial. He's like, we was talking about the astronauts going to the moon. He's like, going to the moon. We're so confident no one's coming back. We left the keys in the car. Just like, it's great.
Oh man, that's pretty good.
Yes. Definitely look it up though later on YouTube. You'll like it.
We'll do. I guess I just want to make sure that we can provide and continue to provide content that people will want to come and listen to, as opposed to little bits here and there that don't really add up to a lot. I mean, our viewership and our listenership has taken a hit, a big hit. And I think the last show we put out was, the 4th of July, actually. If you're doing the math, that's 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's just hard.
Well, it's hard over the summer too, because everyone has plans. People's
Yeah.
like week stuff changes. People go on vacations. Like you don't have enough
well,
people to put the show
vacations,
together.
the Olympics.
So yeah, it's just summer's tricky in general. Plus, like
Yeah.
you mentioned, there's a bit of a drought of actual DC content. As far as DC heroes and villains is, not everyone's playing that game, and the people that were listening to us before voiced that they don't want to hear about that game. So
Right.
can't really talk much about that. Dark Legion is in early release testing, but again, I don't know how many people that's going to appeal to as far as DC gaming.
Right.
From what I hear, Worlds Collide is great, but I don't have access to it, so I don't know that to be true.
Right. Yeah.
So that could be something in the future if it gets a wide release that maybe the show refocuses on, because I think a big part of the listeners are people that played the game that were just listening for thoughts and feelings about new characters in the game, how it would change their strategy and how they would play. And
Yeah.
that was a big part of what we used to talk about before versus just random DC content. So
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what the show was built on, was DC Legends. And when DC
Yep.
Legends died, we had to figure out, how to continue the show. And what you said is the most important, is that the people listening will tell us how we're doing.
Yeah.
And if they're telling us, if they're not listening, because our main audience was because of that game. If they're not listening now, I think they're telling us, that it either does need to be rebranded or go away.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, that's my thoughts on it. I don't have a problem continuing to, do reviews, do do a review of a King Tut Batman 66. I'll be happy to do that. Think something like
Yes.
that. But at the same time, listen, for the people that are still listening in summertime, which is busy, as Secchi just said, give us some ideas. Give us some ideas of what you'd like to hear, because it's really up to the viewers how we go about this.
Right, right, and that's exactly right, Biff. And I was just gonna say that. Hit us up in the comments here on YouTube down below, or if you're on our Discord server, tell us there, or get on our Discord server and tell us. I think I've got a QR code and links everywhere. They're all somewhere up in here. I don't know where I put them today, but they're somewhere up there. Maybe they're sitting below Secchi. Maybe they're sitting on top of Biff. I don't know. It could be anywhere.
Maybe we need to make more noise in the talk with us section, because I think a lot of our conversations happen in the private Alliance channel. So unless you're like the Alliance, you don't really get involved in those conversations. And I mean,
no, and that's a valid point too.
We don't have the game or the Alliance anymore, really.
No, so. but you hit the nail on the head there too. That's a valid point too. If we're not engaging, everyone, aka the general public, if all we're doing is, talking amongst ourselves in the Alliance chat, which is great, I love it, but it doesn't really keep traffic moving.
With the listening audience.
Right. So,
well, and what we can do, starting probably next month, leading into the month after, we can start doing a little bit of beta reviews of Alliance Altered Dimensions, reviewing characters, and we can have videos of gameplay footage and the characters performing all their different moves and things like that. So that'll be a topic we can start covering as well, if you guys are up to that.
I'm very much up to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think you guys have given us a lot to think about, and I want to start implementing some of those. By the way, I don't know if it'll be next episode or the episode after, depending on when we get together to do our next show. But it's going to be our 5th anniversary show soon. And for our 5th anniversary, I think I mentioned this before, but we were all going to pull out Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, I'm down.
Give it a whirl, if you will.
Okay.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think that, and I really hope Woody and Miss Junk and Tootie and everybody could join us for that, because I think that'll be a hell of a lot of fun.
Maybe we can flex the scheduling, or talk to everyone ahead of time to schedule at a different time that works better for everybody to
join. We can definitely do that. We'll get together in the writer's room and we'll collaborate, or however you say that word. Collaborate together on maybe a different schedule that works for everybody, so we can get as many folks in there as possible. And with that, I know I didn't have any jokes or anything today, but I'll give you guys a final word, or a last word. I think it's time we take it around the room, and let's start with Retmus. Let's get your final word, buddy.
Don't really have a lot to say today. I just want everybody to enjoy themselves, be happy, try a different show every now and then. You might like it, you might not, but if you're flipping through, the billions of different choices that we have, and you see a thumbnail of something, you've never even heard of it, why not give it a shot? You might find a series that you completely love and didn't even know about it. So there's a lot of hidden gems out there in the world. Just don't set your sights on just one specific thing and just I'm only going to do this, because then you're going to run out of source material and not have anything new to enjoy. So just take a little bit of time, and you really don't even have to take a lot of time. If you're just sitting there browsing, or even on the internet, looking things up, there's things where people suggest, there's different suggestions. If you like this, this is suggested for you, try some of those out. I've done that a few times and completely love some of the shows that it's suggested, but there has been some that I haven't, but I wouldn't have got the enjoyment out of the others if I didn't give it a shot. So anyway, enjoy. That's about it.
Thank you, Retmus. Always a pleasure, sir. Biff, you get to follow that up, man.
Well, I'll piggyback on what I said a few minutes ago. If you're listening, you're still interested in this, so tell us how we can be better. Tell us what you want to hear from us, and we will oblige because, if we're not giving you a reason to listen, then that's on us. So, but you help us out and let us know what DC or other content. Let us know what you've liked that we've done since DCL died. I mean, we've really run the gamut. We've done everything from best top 25 sitcom characters of all time to our lists of best DC TV villains and all this stuff. So we're trying, but help us out. Let us know. Let us know what you want to hear from us, or tell us why you do still listen, what we are doing right.
I know what the people want. They want to hear the AB rank his Kiss albums from first to worst.
Right. Well,
Hey, sounds good.
Shit.
we can run the gamut.
And reasons
I
behind
remember
it.
I got great response, great engagement from the community on the sitcom list.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're up for anything.
Maybe I will put a Kiss list out there. Who knows?
Yeah, why not?
Shit.
Seriously. And also to piggyback off of Biff real quick about, things to experience that I mentioned earlier. Everybody needs to go check out Moments of Experience. It's a new podcast on YouTube. It's very good and inspirational.
It is. It's all right. I've heard a couple episodes.
Yeah, they're not too bad. The guy doing it's a pretty decent guy.
Got a good voice for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where they found him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how he got Mo to talk that whole entire episode and tell everybody this stuff, but Mo was awesome.
Oh. Fantastic. Is that all you had, Biff? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is it.
Okay. Thank you very much, buddy. Always a pleasure. Sec-Jew, you get the final word.
Well, there's no room left for me to piggyback since they're piggyback on each other. So, I don't know. I'll talk about whatever. You guys just tell me. I'll put it out there. I mean, you're lucky that I went with kayak slalom today instead of equestrian dressage, because that's my other Olympic thing I like. Horse dancing. Who doesn't like dancing horses other than when they show you how they train them with whips? Anyway.
Right.
So, I don't know. Just, as the other guys are saying, let us know what you want us to talk about. If you're still a listener, we are grateful for that. And we're happy to chat about whatever, whether it's, DC or otherwise, but we'd like to keep it DC. So, just give us some ideas and we'll see what we can do with them. But otherwise, thanks for listening today and every other time. We appreciate you.
That's right. By the way, you guys have never heard a Kiss record in your lives, have you?
That's not true.
Oh, Retmus may have, yeah, but I don't think Biff or Sect you ever have.
Oh, I'm sure I have.
You're sure you have?
I'm sure I have.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have.
Like a whole album or just songs?
Well, like a whole record. That would be
But
ideal.
I wouldn't be familiar. You are correct.
Okay. You're probably familiar with like I Was Made for Loving You and Beth and things like that. But
yeah, all the popular shit that's probably played to death.
Yeah, that's like the worst, the schlock.
AB, I was more into Rat than I was Kiss, but I have heard a Kiss album.
Okay. Which one?
I don't know.
Isn't like Destroyer their most
I was
popular?
very much into music as a teenager, but after my teenage years, I really dropped off being big into music.
Yeah.
I don't know why. As soon as he said rat, all I could think of was that commercial about the people having the rat problem, and then it's the band is playing in the downstairs apartment.
Rat. Round and round. Yeah.
I think wasn't the AB.
Yeah.
Wasn't the most popular Destroyer?
That was one of them, yeah. Alive and Destroyer
Love Gun.
Love Gun was another really popular one. Yeah.
Alive 2 even came out. It was real popular as well.
Yeah. I mean, Alive 2 was on the beginning of the downward trend, but yeah. No.
But there was some really cool ones.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was always a fan of the first three records. They're often overlooked, but they contain some of the best songs in the catalog, if you ask me. I could talk about it all day, but, you know, I probably shouldn't, because that's the first way to get listeners to stop listening to my show. They don't want to hear me talking about the blood-spitting, fire-breathing, laser show, lift-off, rocket-exploding, tongue-lashing kiss. Just everything. Anyways. Thank you, guys.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. All right. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Get onto our Discord, link in the description below, or scan the QR code that's somewhere up and over in here. We would appreciate it. You know you want to, so do it. What am I saying? I've lost my place again. For Biff, for Retmus, for Secju. We'll see you all right here next time for another haphazard episode of Atlantis After Dark. So long, everybody.